जय जय राम। ओम श्री राम जय राम, 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 जय जय राम। श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। ओम श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। 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 ओम श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। 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 ओम श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। ओम श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। ओम श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। ओम श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। ओम श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। ओम श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। ओम श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। ओम श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। ओम श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। ओम 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 श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम।
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om 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 Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody.
Swamiji.
Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Yes, what is the subject today to be shared? Pardon?
Bondage.
Bondage. Initially, when we were not initiated or introduced to the spiritual journey, we attribute this bondage to everything external. Family bondage, professional bondage, social bondage, duty is a bondage, something like that. No? We keep on bringing these things into that category. And we feel the baggage is too much for us. I would like to do, but I am not, I am compelled to do this one. I have no other go. These are all the things normally we express as bondage, bondage, bondage. But as we step into the spiritual line, we will try to recognize slowly that there is nothing called bondage. It is only the mind that says, I am bound by it. Initially, it is difficult for us to get rid of this bondage, but persistent, hammering, that it is God who is behind everything. Slowly, 0.5%, 1% we try to realize that it is all the situations have been given to us by Him. All experiences He is making us to pass through. All the so-called burden. There is a prayer there, no? O Lord of the universe, you are pulsating, activating and supporting everything. And it is you who have sent me over here to translate your message into reality. I am only carrying out your commands. I beseech you to see to it that no pride or self-esteem enters my mind, no thirst for name or fame creeps into my mind. All the burden and responsibility that you have placed upon me are verily yours. Bless me so that I may carry on your work only as an instrument in your hands, and that I may offer all the fruits of my work unto you. Guide me always in the right path. These words, the moment we happen to know, immediately, when you say you have got a burden, it is, he has given this. No doubt, we treat it as a burden, no doubt. We know it is a baggage, but we know there is a power behind it. Previously, we were not aware of this. So it was very heavy. Now there is a cushioning there. It is too much for me to bear, please. We can say to somebody, So everything is, that is why we have made it as a room. Anybody who, every now and then, people who are involved in the ashram seva himself, they are also subjected to so many struggles, strain, stress. So the moment they enter and when they say, correct, it is your work I am doing, it's your work. I thought it is my work, my problem. Your work. So suppose when we go deeper and deeper into it, not that we will be totally free from the feeling of burden, but there will be a cushioning. He has made us to go through for reasons known to Himself, but ultimately for my own good. O Lord of the universe, you are pulsating, activating and supporting everything, and it is you who have sent me here. That is important. You have sent me here. Wherever we go, we should know it is he who has sent me. And it is you who have sent me here to translate your message into reality. So far I have been thinking that it's my work, my job, No. I am only carrying out your commands. I beseech you to see to it that no pride or self-esteem enter my heart. No thirst for name and fame creeps into my mind. All the burden and responsibility that you have placed upon me are verily yours. Bless me so that I may carry on your work. I may carry on your work only as an instrument in your hands, and that I may offer all the fruits of work unto you. Guide me always on the right path. So for this, what is needed? We have to first connect ourselves with Him. Otherwise, we'll be reading it and forgetting it. That is what happens to us now. Immediately after the satsang or immediately after dwelling on these thoughts, there is a disconnect. Again, I am back to me and mine. We don't find the relevance of God principle, God dimension in my life. So some discipline is necessary for enabling us to get connected with God dimension. So the spiritual preceptor, whenever he makes us to get in touch with, and here it is beloved Papa, he keeps on harping this, that God is within you, God is within you, God is within you. All our mantras, all our Upanishadic mantras, Shanti mantras, everything keep on pointing out to this. So we now, that is the second stage. And in second stage, when we know this, again it is a knowledge only, academic knowledge, textual knowledge. Somebody writes, somebody hears, then you store it in your memory. Now, how to integrate it with our life, how to translate the same in our life, that is our struggle. Each one has to chalk out a path suitable for oneself. So here the connection, Papa feels, one of the methods to connect ourselves with Him is to chant His name with the feeling that He is behind the very chanting itself. So this activating, pulsating, motivating, all those things are answered. At this moment, He is behind this power. So these are some of the ways by which we reduce the assumed load of our burden. Actually, it is not our burden. And when we are on this path, and when we try to get more and more stabilized in the relevance of God dimension, it is like a train journey where we just get into the train with our baggage, but we don't carry the baggage the moment we get into the train. The train itself will carry the baggage, we don't have to keep it in our hand or on our head. Similarly, when we are on the spiritual journey, when we slowly try to connect ourselves with Him, who is responsible for our very existence, who is responsible for our very life here, does He not know what is to be carried, what is not to be carried? That stage will come, then we will feel less and less of the feeling of burden, feeling of bondage. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to say, somebody, hugs a thorny tree and then complains, it's not leaving me. Kambal chotane. There's another one more thing he used to say that. Yeah. Actually, it is the bear that is inside this. And anyway, so the idea is bondage is not bondage by itself. That is why whenever we are inspired by something, we do that, we don't feel the bondage. Many, when there was a flood, in some area, when many people like ashram also, they got involved. And somebody comes forward to pack it and clean it, everything. And then carry on their shoulder and pass it on. They find joy in it, they don't find. So again, God makes us to think, bondage is a name you are giving it. The same act, when it is done with dedication, it loses its weightage on us. The feeling of bondage is not there. So to reduce that, so the dedication to the Lord. That is why in this quotation it is there. I am carrying out your message into. You have sent me over here to translate your message into reality. I am only carrying out your commands. I beseech you to see to it that no pride or self-esteem enters my heart, no thirst for name or fame creeps into my mind. All the burden and responsibility that you have placed upon me are verily yours. Bless me so that I may carry on your work only as an instrument in your hands, and that I may offer all the fruits of action unto you. Anybody would like to add anything to this? Can you hear?
Yes, Swamiji.
I thought you were. Everybody is in Nirvikalpa Samadhi,
No, sir. Everything is. We have to experience.
So one friend asked about bondage, and we were reading out from the words of wisdom of a Mahatma, which are there now in the Centenary Hall. Anybody would like to say anything or add to this? So every now and then when we feel there is a burden, if we go and read this, probably we may be able to move a little more closer. I remember one incident, one person who was working in a company, up to his retirement he worked. He had nearly about 100 acres of coffee plantation. But still he was working. This property was looked after by somebody else. And then one of his sons, he asked them to go and take charge. So after retirement, he came. A house was built in their estate. We used to regularly go there. And this noble person will be there. He is exposed to a lot of things, in life. We have been regularly going, but not even for a single instance he has asked anything about any of these vyavahar. He will, as soon as he meets us, he will say, when did you reach? Have something, coffee or meals. Everything is okay. But he will be in a jura, Atukattu. Contented. He will not ask his son what is the crop this year, what are the other income we can get, explore so many things, nothing. Literally retired. The person who is running it, he may feel, no, so many things are there on his head. But to him, literally retired. His son used to tell me, father will not even ask anything, what is this year's crop, what was last year's crop. And it so happened that some of us thought we will have a nice farmhouse somewhere near Mysore. So one day somebody suggested there is a plot there, so we all went from Wayanad. He was also there. At the time of leaving, his father asked, are you going with any purpose? So the son said, somebody suggested there are some lands to develop into a farmhouse. So he immediately, is this not enough? He told me, father never used to interfere, but this time voluntarily he told me, so I am dropping everything. Anyway, we are committed to visit. For that purpose, we will visit. Suddenly, the son said, yeah, why should we unnecessarily go in for another property and develop it and break our head? Why not we improve that, improve the productivity and be useful? So the father only said, is this not enough? Not only that he is free from burdens, he is full of contentment, Purnatvam. Santushto yena jidi, that santushta stage, where you feel quite comfortable, no more you need. And a very simple life, not a luxurious life with so many comfort zones. Very simple life. And he passed away, simple. He just had some breathing problem for a day or two, quietly passed away. We always see a person who has been a grihasta, 3-4 children, himself working in a company, not involving in anything, no word about anything, no comments, no gossiping, no finding fault with, no grumbling, no complaints. Very much in the family, that's all. Early morning he will get up, he will have his own prayer in the puja room after bath, and then come out, then go for a little walk or somewhere, rest, read something. If anybody comes, share something lovingly, bas. He will not give any lecture, he will not, by himself he will not. Suppose we ask, he may, but that also very rare. When we take leave of him also, that pleasing face, the fullness will be there. We always go and touch his feet before we leave him. Full of love. So when you ask about bondage, it is not merely because somebody is associating with an ashram or where you don't have any personal life. It is not like that. A person who has been in this, but at the same time doesn't feel any bondage. We were also involved in running this plantation. Umpty number of problems will be there. Umpty number of. On those days, labor problem, our produce will not get it is very difficult to have a breakthrough. So many. So in the midst of it, you have to run this thing. On some years, the crop will be good. On some years, the crop will not be good. It is a one-time crop in a year. It depends purely upon the nature. So many things you can keep on worrying, burden, responsibility. But at the same time, there are many who lead a quiet life, contented life. peaceful life. So then Papa is teaching us that burden or bondage is a thing, it is only a relative. There is no bondage, but there is a bondage which we call it as relative bondage. Anything else?
Yes, Swamiji, I have a question. Related to bondage and seva and family life. Mataji had children and she was called towards Papa to live with him.
Mataji had children, she was called by Papa. No? She came to Papa. Mataji had children, family, but still.
And sometimes I wonder if you could talk about that, because there's the responsibility and the dharma of fulfilling a role as mother, wife, daughter, etc.
Yeah.
But there's also the strong pull in the heart, like Mataji had, to just spend all time in silence and just the yearning for God, and how to balance that as a family person.
First of all, we should know it is not that we are planning, okay? In Mataji's case, when she lost her husband in a very tender age, 20th, she had 2 small children. She had faith in God, but still she thought her life has become blank, shattered. She couldn't reconcile with the death of her husband, a very loving husband. Even when the husband warned her not to go, she was, they were in Bombay. Normally on those days, delivery takes place in mother's place. So mother was in Bhatkal. So they had to come by steamer from Bombay. So that time she was carrying the 3rd child, we were told. So then she thought she would go a bit early. The husband said, don't go now, you can go later. But she kept on insisting. Finally, he said, you will regret later. Then also she did not take it seriously. And finally she left. After she reached her place after a few days, again there was, listen, you ladies, he said. After a few days, this said, he fell sick. A telegram was sent, that was the only mode of communication on those days. Again, probably Mataji would have thought for a fever, to go all the way back again to Bombay and come back. Probably she would have thought like that. So again he asked whether Krishnabhai has come. And suddenly we became critical and passed away. As soon as the telegram reached, Mataji's life, thought, my life is over. The biggest shock here. And then her brothers, her husband's brother and wife, they are like blood brother and blood sister. So they were taking her to different places of worship to meet Mahatmas. And finally they came to Kasaragod. At that time he was posted as a doctor there. And during that time, you see the timing, it's not our planning. Papa, after his second itinerant life, first was what is chronicled in Inquest of God, and then later on in the Vision of God. So his Purvashram brother requested him to stay in a cottage, away from everybody. Okay. So to Papa now, if anybody says something, he will say yes, because it is Ram's command. So a small cottage was set up on the banks of a river, and he was staying there, always blissful. Somebody was sending the food, that's all. So slowly 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people joined, and when Mataji's brother-in-law was posted and she came to Kasargod. News came that there is a new Swami, always blissful, radiates bliss. So probably he thought, a darshan of such a saint would also give solace to Mataji. So they took him. So as soon as Mataji saw Papa, she knew he is my father, mother, guru and everything. And then later on, every day she used to come. Papa put her on test. Papa initiated him. The children were also there. And then this in-law got transferred to Dharwad. So the entire family had to be shifted. Now with a very heavy heart, Mataji also went back. There she couldn't stay. So she asked sons, instead of staying here, I would like to go and serve the saint. Whatever food I get, you will also get. So you can come with me. Then the children said, no, we want to have proper education. And we will be with our Periyappa, our paternal uncle. So Mataji left them and scared. Now here the question. From the Vyavaharic point of view, has she shirked her responsibility? To many others, they may feel yes, but to her she did not feel any regret because she had offered, she was prepared to sacrifice for them. At the same time, her priority was not limited to a family life. So naturally, when she was very clear about her life's objective, the objective of the life is to know and realize the presence of God within. And when she knew that the children will be more well looked after by the in-laws, otherwise Mataji would not have done. And that was the truth. They had good education, they were employed. So it is not shirking the responsibility. At the same time holding on to our destiny. So in Papa's case also, when he left the family, he saw to it that their basic needs are met with. And after his itinerant life, when he came back, he had no reservation. Even this Kasargod ashram, his Purvashram wife came and stayed. So to him it was not renunciation, it was an expansion, that's all. And then Mataji used to say, if you want to really practice universal love and service, you should start it from your own home. So that means God has placed me to become a family being. God has made me to become the wife or the husband of so-and-so. God has made me to become the mother of these children. So I am trying to see God dimension in everybody. So the dedication to God includes your family also. That is what Papa Mataji have shown in their life. Later on, Mataji's sons also used to come. One son was not perfectly all right. He was staying in the ashram for some time. Their sons. So it is not the question of renunciation or shirking the responsibility, or the family life or a grihasta life is not detrimental to the interest of a spiritual life. That is why during his foreign tour, when somebody asked him, he plainly said, who said Ramdas has renounced? You come to ashram, his family is there. There are mothers, children, goshala, so many things like any other house. We have got a big family, that's all. So the whole concept gets changed, the perspective gets changed. It is not that the spiritual life is different from or prohibits us from leading a family life. So all our family members are also treated by us as the form of God. Initially, as an intellectual acceptance, and slowly it makes an experiential life. And at this time, the doubt may arise, if others have not recognized this, how will I carry on? That means you are trying to love everybody, but with this dimension, God dimension, but they may not be able to understand it. Somebody, in some cases, they may be able to understand, the husband or wife or children. In some case, the wife or husband or children may not understand. So what do I do? Here also, we learn from Papa Mataji's life that if we continue to have this balancing, that this is not opposed to spiritual life, and we try to say that God has given us the first opportunity for us to expand our love circle, then slowly we will be clear. Whether others are clear or not, it depends upon their prarabdha, yesterday we said, their sankalpas, their swabhavas. We will not be able to say. But as far as we are concerned, our love will be unconditional, and our acts towards them will be in a form of dedication.
Swamiji, Mataji has said clearly about this in Guru's grace. She says, God has given you one body, one life to achieve. So that thought overpowers everything else.
Yeah.
So she could leave the house because of that, because we have one opportunity to realize the truth.
Yeah.
But then it is not easy for us to sustain that. We cannot keep the thread all the time, Swami.
No, when the time comes, when God wills that we should even break the ties, He will bring about circumstances in such a way that you cannot but do it.
But Swamiji, for us, before we even, whether we break the tie or not, our first tie, our umbilical cord is with Anandashram. That definitely is there. And that my home is Anandashram. Where I stay is for my own physical requirement. I may stay here.
Yeah.
My home is there.
Yeah. And Anandashram means, Mataji says, it is not limited to this ashram. It
not
is
limited, but it's saying everything.
Papa's omnipresent, Papa's Anand ashram is the whole universe. To know that he has set up this Anand ashram. These are his words Mataji used. So anyhow, that's a good thing. So has it been made clear? Somebody asked this question,
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah. Anything else? Today everything is connected. Bondage. These are normally we say, what can we do? This is our prarabdha. We have to look after our families. No, this is also another bondage. But here, the moment we think it as a dedication, immediately the burden is off the head.
Google bondage is Satsang, Anandashram.
Then, anything else?
But Swamiji, as you are saying, there are many times in a day or in life that we are not able to hold on.
Hold on to what all we share now. That is there, that will be there always. The ups and downs will be there until God makes us to get stabilized in the truth that it is He who is making us to do. Until we have the sense of agency in us, naturally its nature is to have the stressful, burdensome activity. This prayer which we have been reading now, that is a constant reminder to us. When you say you have a family, suppose you keep on hammering this, that he has made you to become the wife of so and so, mother of so and so, mother-in-law of so and so, daughter of so and so, brother of so and so, then the whole perspective changes, Very difficult, because right from childhood we have not been taught so. So at one stage, or even in our age, when we are all in the evenings of our life, when we get this, it may not be that easy to accept it. But we try. At least you have made us known now, We were not knowing it. Had we known it earlier, we would have developed our relationship based upon that. But we were thinking about only as my brother, my wife, my husband, my mother. That possessiveness was there, attachment was there. But whatever I do to them, I also expect them to reciprocate in some form, though not in the same form. But suppose in dedication, there is no expectation. That is why the last word in this prayer, he says, and that I may offer all the fruits of work unto you. That means we don't expect anything from anybody. I have done so much to bring up my children. I have done so much to do this and that to them. And then you see, they are not bothering now. They give me, or the material comfort they will have. But the other comfort, the mental, the sentimental, emotional level, I am not getting it. Some people may complain. Especially when we go to vridhashrams, we can find that. Old age homes, destitutes. So that means there is an expectation. That is why we are not in a position to enjoy. Somebody is offering an old age home where I am taken care of, but I don't enjoy. Whenever nowadays we don't get opportunities, there was a time about 10 or 15 years back, wherever we go, we used to go to this destitute home and distribute something to all the inmates there. It is a sight which you can never forget. Because when you take one apple or something and you go and give them in their hand, by your hand to their hand, and the look of, when they look, many will be, in tears. Because they were not starving for food, but they were starving for love. All other comforts are given, but love. So somebody who goes there to care them, that is what they want. And automatically, it comes out. So all those things will be wiped out if we try to train our every action of ours as a dedication to Him. So that there is zero expectation. Is only with
Bondage is only for the outside family people, not for spiritual people.
Suppose you ask here to run this organization, so many problems will come. You can treat it as a part of the nature of the organization or treat it as a burden. Here also the same thing applies, Suppose somebody behaves in a manner in which he should not behave in an ashram like this. You can treat it like this. God is testing me. Though I may have to take some strong action, behind the action I will know God is testing me. So I will be free from prejudice. I will still have love for Him. But at the same time, to take some tough decisions. You can treat it as a burden. Oh, why did I come here? That also you can feel. So it depends upon how we look at it. So this is bondage is relative, purely relative. If we wipe it out from our mind, finish. Because we all know that when we came, when we were as a seed in our mother's womb, we did not have this. When we were children, we did not have this. Because somebody else is taking care. Whenever we want, all that we have to do is to go and say, I want this. So nothing was a burden for me. I started feeling only when the sense of agency, sense of doership, sense of enjoyership, sense of sufferership, all these things came to me. So I came without any of these burden. And I put on certain burden on me. Whether I am in a spiritual institution or whether I am leading a family life or a professional life. It is same. We have seen many such level-headed, even-minded people, not only leading a family life, in professional life too. After 5 o'clock, he will not utter a word about office when he comes back. And joins with the family. There are many who carry the, the stressful period they had, and it is passed on to the family members also. So it all depends upon how we look at it. So as spiritual aspirants, I think we should keep on hammering, there is nothing called bondage. I may be affectionate, I may be duty bound, but I will not feel the burden of bondage. And Papa's life history, suppose we keep on going, how free he was, Take Mataji's case. When she was, right from day one, she did not limit herself to spiritual discipline or imparting spiritual words of wisdom to others. She was actually involved in various seva activities when ashram was not having any wherewithal also. But nothing bothered her. No? As we used to say many times during these Google sessions, in our language, borrowing. In her language, there is no borrowal. She sees only God everywhere. So to take from one form of God and to give to another form of God through the form of God, So to her, there is no borrowing. But we can interpret it as a borrowing. And therefore the bondage will be there, the stress will be there. Organizational, problems. But she never felt it. She never bothered about it. So we have to keep on reading and assimilating and absorbing such things so that whenever our mind interprets it as a bondage, we will be able to tame it down. That is why we are asked to go through the biographical sketches of masters, not philosophies. They are how they lived, how they placed before us their inspiring life and mission. Anything else? A small break, 1 minute, please hold on. That prayer, you can show. Oh.
Publication prayer book.
89. Huh? Yes, you don't know where we have categorized, you know. Not sharing. Let's read out. We thought of showing you that prayer, but some problem. So we will read it out again, because that is the take-home message for today's. All right. O my Sadgurudev, you are verily the Lord of the universe, pulsating, activating and supporting everything. It is you who have sent me over here to translate your message into reality. I am only carrying out your commands. I beseech you to see to it that no pride or self-esteem enters my heart, no thirst for name or fame creeps into my mind. All the burden and responsibility that you have placed upon me are verily yours. Bless me that I may offer all the fruits of work unto you. Guide me always in the right path. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Full screen if you do it better.
Is it because of that?
Maybe we don't know.
You can try again.
Try it. We just try once. Network connection.
You lost your network connection.
What is there?
Again it has come. Anyway, don't worry, the trend will go.
Google Meet is sharing.
Hmm?
Are you able to see the screen? No, again, network. Screen is not on.
What is this?
ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಉಂಟು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಉಂಟು ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ.
It is there, no Swamiji.
It is there.
Already net has come.
Net is already there. Net won't go.
No, it has come, Swamiji. Your connection.
Take Anandashram, Swamiji.
Where?
It will come.
No, it will come by itself. Okay. Again,
Presenting.
you are presenting your screen. Okay. Forget about it.
This hotspot, there won't be breaks, Swamiji.
One month they are not connected. Yeah, forget. Drop this. Stop sharing. Stop presenting. So let that prayer, at least some of the words of the prayer, if it gets imprinted in our heart, it will take us a long way. You want us to repeat it again?
Yes. Yes, Swami.
You can note down. Simply hearing it, you will forget about it. Oh my Sadgurudev, you are verily the Lord of the universe. Pulsating, activating, supporting everything. And it is you have sent me over here to translate your message into reality. I am only carrying out your commands. I beseech you to see to it that no pride or self-esteem enters my heart. No thirst for name and fame creeps into my mind. All the burden and responsibility that you have placed upon me are verily yours. Bless me so that I may carry on your work. only as an instrument in your hands, and that I may offer all the fruits of work unto you. Guide me always in the right path.
Swamiji, this prayer is to share on myself with the Swami Muktanand.
This prayer myself to Swami Muktanand.
So he is to guide everybody.
The real guide is within.
Yes. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Acha, now one more thing I want to share. From tomorrow onward for the next 10 days, you have to give me leave.
Rama.
I will be leaving
No,
for.
Swamiji.
I will be leaving for Dharmasthal.
Oh.
There I am not sure about the.
Swamiji, your leave is cancelled, Swamiji.
Your leave is cancelled.
Leave.
Not giving permission.
Achha, now I will try. If you are cancelling my leave, I will try there. But I am not sure about the Wi-Fi connection there. Last time, about 3-4 years back when I went there, it was very difficult to get this Wi-Fi connection. We are carrying the laptop. If Papa wills that we should have, and mind you, it's an hospital, nature cure hospital. We may be getting a room, no doubt. But I am not sure about the other things, whether we, inside the room, whether we will get the connection or not. Inside the room, it was very difficult. And outside, I cannot do it. So you need not sanction the leave, but I may not be able to do it. But I will try, okay? If by any chance it's not possible, we will all meet you on the 11th.
Swamiji, without pay.
Without pay.
We will try our level best. It all depends upon your sankalpa, strong sankalpa. Last time we had that experience. We are carrying the dongle, we are carrying the laptop, everything is okay, but at times, even here, Papa is testing us so many times.
We'll try.
So we will try. Then tell me anything, if you want to share anything.
Swamiji, from tomorrow onwards, it won't be there. Satsang won't be there.
I will be leaving by noon, ashram. Tomorrow it won't be there because I will be reaching there only by 4:35 o'clock. Tomorrow anyway it won't be there. From day after tomorrow we will try. If they also permit. I don't know. Tomorrow
Mataji from Anandashram can permit.
We will switch on. I will keep on. Okay.
Yes.
And Swamiji won't come. We will read something. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
We are blessed.
Okay.
Papa's grace.
Okay. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om